Good evening, America. Welcome to WKPN 10 News with your host, me, Phil Lombard, and Marshall Wargrave. Today's top story, Prohibition is officially over, and alcohol consumption is made legal throughout the United States.
Thanks, Phil. In celebration of this momentous occasion, we'll be recapping the top stories of the past decade, starting with the Sacco Vanzetti trial.
Sacco and Vanzetti were anarchists charged with the murder of a paymaster and his guard in 1921 in urban Massachusetts.
Right you are, Phil. I had a grandmother from Massachusetts. Quite a lady.
Their execution was carried out without sufficient evidence against them. In fact, it won't be until 20 years from now that they test that handgun to see if it was fired. It was.
Yes, it was. Those liberal bastards.
Safe to say. Moving on to the Immigration Act of 1924. This act was passed as an enhancement of the previous Emergency Quota Act of 1921. The purpose of this act was to cut all immigration quotas to 3% of their nationality that already lived on U.S. soil. Now, the Immigration Act cut this percent by a whopping 1%, making it 2%. It also changed the census date to 1890 as opposed to the previous 1910.
Now, that date change is going to keep out those Southern, Eastern Europeans, and the Asians, and thank God for that.
Right you are, Marshall, and on that note, we are going to cut to a quick commercial break. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, folks, come on down to Ford's Automobiles. Look what we got here. Brand new Model T's in stock. Okay, with these Model T's, we get a steel frame. That means it's very durable. And thanks to a new combustion engine, you don't need horses anymore. No more cleaning up their crap, no more feeding them. You just don't have to deal with horses ever again. And thanks to the combustion engine, it runs on oil, which is cheap and easy to manufacture. Hey, Colin, tell them about them tires. Come over here, look at these tires. Brand new rubber tires on your Model T. Also, you can get the Model T in any color you want, as long as it's black. That's right. Tell them about them prices, Colin. Our prices are so low, you can get a Model T for under $300. That's crazy, folks. Crazy. Crazy! Come get your Model T today.
And this one, folks, is a double-header about your main boy, Charlie Lindbergh. To you, Phil.
Right on. Charles Lindbergh flew from New York to Paris for the first transatlantic flight ever before in history in 1927 on a plane he called the Spirit of St. Louis.
Well, that's a little bit fruity.
Yes, it is. He completed his flight in 33 hours and 39 minutes, a world record, because no one had ever done it before.
Who knew?
Not me. Ironically, Lindbergh's infant son was kidnapped in the year 1932 and held for ransom by mobsters. This kidnapping offense eventually resulted in the infant's murder. Quite a gruesome tale. As a result of this, the Lindbergh Law was passed by Congress that very same year that made interstate kidnapping a death penalty offense. That means you got killed if you did this. And back to the year 1929, the year infamous gangster Scarface Al Capone ordered an infamous hit on an opposing gang. His men, dressed up as the local police, ordered the mobsters outside and promptly shot them to death.
Well, you know what I say.
What's that, Marshall?
Well, if you can't beat them...
I know where you were going with that. This all took place on St. Valentine's Day, called the Day of Love to some people. Not so loving in Chicago, were they?
No, they were not, Jim.
I'm Phil.
I'm sorry, Phil.
That's all right.
Lead on.
And that'll do it for us, folks. We're about out of time. And thank you for stopping by.
Stay classy, San Francisco.
We're in Chicago.
Stay classy, Chicago.
That's a good take, Corey.
I'm sorry, that was funny.
What?
I don't remember anymore, but that was funny.
That was really funny. Did you mean to do that?
Nope.
Yeah, I figured you didn't.
I think you know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And then I realized I probably should acknowledge it in some way, otherwise it's like...
Okay.
I guess we'll just go. Oh, come on, Mitch! I told you I would be restarting with, like, whenever.
Just don't break the cup.
Mitch.
Just talk about the flight. It was, you remember what it was called, right? No, the Spirit of St. Louis.